know why. I don't even know why we're here.
We're just talking about misdemeanors.
Nothing.
Right out the gate, this judge is cracking jokes about not handling felonies. But wait, should a misdemeanor judge even be reviewing felony motions? Let us know in the comments if you think this is stepping over the line or just efficient courtroom hustle.
On March 21st, 2025, officers were dispatched to a family disturbance call for service at 2525 Holsworth Road in Spring, Harris County, Texas, which is an apartment complex. The officer began by identifying the defendant, who could not provide a valid driver's license. The defendant verbally identified himself as Adam Mitchell with a date of birth of December 23rd, 1987. The reportee then gave the officers his correct name, and the defendant then admitted to providing false information due to advising about it that he believed he had. The defendant then gave his correct name. The officers discovered an active warrant for the defendant out of Cook County, though there was no extradition.
So there was a with Cook County.
There was, but there was
Cook County, Illinois?
Yeah, sure. I looked at the NCIC. All I saw in there that it could possibly maybe was some sort of like traffic offense.
Okay.
That's all for sure he's talking about. Don't say
Not right. So he gives the name of Adam
Mitchell. And Judge, this isn't filed as a fugitive, just to
because he wasn't. Well, maybe he was. I don't know. Regardless, so Mr. Walker, I'm going to find that there's sufficient probable cause. Well,
Pause. Did you catch that? The defendant admits to lying about his identity after getting caught. This isn't just a slip-up. In legal terms, this can be failure to identify. And yes, it's a chargeable offense in Texas. What would you have done in his shoes?
The officer arrives, proceeds to try to identify both individuals, began by identifying the defendant, who could not provide a valid driver's license. The defendant then identified himself verbally as Adam Mitchell with the date of birth of December 23rd, 1987.
I mean, I get that you call the police, but nevertheless, I mean, we've got...
Then he told him the right info.
But you still gave the wrong info, and then they looked him up, and then they get, So, I mean, there's enough probable cause to go forward.
Why would that didn't happen, but why did, if I call the police, why are they asking for my ID in the first place? They don't have the right to do that, sir.
They're going there for a disturbance.
Yeah,
they have to. Look. I can't get into all that stuff now, but they're to investigate something that happened. There's a disturbance. They go there. Normally what officers do is they have to look at everybody who's there to determine, hey, who is this? What's going on here? Does this person have any kind of issues? And, regardless, the good news is that it looks like on motion to revoke, the only thing is fees that I see in this case, okay? I can't let you go at this time because this is a felony warrant. You're set at no bond now, but you'll get to felony court on Monday, and at that point, I mean, I'm sure that they'll do something. I'm not gonna,
That's crazy, man. I called the police.
I'm not gonna.
A couple fighting, and I just called the police. That's all I did, sir. I seen two couples fighting, and I called the police because there was a guy hitting a woman.
I can't give you legal advice.
She's writing everything down too that you're saying. Maybe later
Just
down the
don't
road,
say
you might
anything at
want to
this
say
point.
something
You
different.
can talk to Mr. Pons. I'm not putting any conditions on your bond. Just be careful, Mr. Walker. Okay, thanks.
Was our bond, and this one, it's PR bond, right?
Yeah, he's got a PR.
No, I bought that for $1,000.
So you're
That's
right.
right.
Thanks.
6,000.
I'm here on Miss Gill. She's set for a bond today, and
Is she in
so
custody?
she is. Yes, Your Honor. And she has one pending felony, but she's out on a bond for that one already. She just has no bond set in this case.
I see bond sets. I see the FSGI is at 1,000. Yeah.
Okay. I talked
It
to
must have just gotten set. I don't know.
Okay. Is it a PR bond?
No. It's a
Okay.
show.
Okay, then if we could review it today, is that possible?
Absolutely. Do
Okay.
you mind, Deputy Etchigoin, do you need a translator?
No.
Do you mind me bringing up Ms. Gill? All right. Good morning, Ms. Gill.
Good morning, Your Honor.
I wanted to bring you out because we're talking about you, and it's only fair that you get to hear what's transpiring since these are your cases.
Yes, sir.
I want you to know, I don't know anything about your case. All I know is that you've now, as of 3/26, yesterday, you picked up a failure to stop and give information. What happened? Oh, well, hold on. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. Okay.
On March 25th, 2025, officers were dispatched to 15357 Wallaceville Drive in Tarrant County, Texas, regarding an FSGI call. Upon arrival, the officer spoke with the complainant, who stated that she followed the defendant after the defendant's vehicle hit her twice and failed to stop and give information. The complainant stated that she was driving southbound on the East Sam Houston Parkway, and the defendant failed to drive in her lane and sideswiped her, causing the vehicle damage to the right side panel of the defendant's vehicle. The complainant stated that she blew her horn several times for the defendant to stop, and the defendant refused. The complainant followed for approximately 3 miles to 15242 Wallaceville Road, and the complainant and the defendant exited their vehicle, and the complainant told the defendant that
Things escalate fast. Miss Gill allegedly hits the same car twice and just says she was hungry. Imagine telling a cop that after a hit and run. Is that an excuse or just making things worse?
times to get the defendant to stop and told her the police were coming, but the defendant ignored the complainant. The defendant then began to put her vehicle in reverse and proceed backwards, hitting the complainant's vehicle a second time. The
So are
complainant,
you telling me that now it was intentional?
the complainant moved her vehicle to avoid being hit and followed the defendant. The complainant flagged the police down to identify the defendant as the person who struck her vehicle. The estimated damage from the complainant was around $4,000, and the defendant stated she didn't stop because she was hungry and colored.
And what?
Colored.
Color.
Yes, Your Honor.
Can you look up to see if she has a valid Texas driver license?
Yes.
Ms. Gill, I'm going to find that there is sufficient probable cause to go forward with your case. Not only are you on a felony probation for assault of a peace officer, not only are you on felony probation for injury to a child under 15, but you pick up, after both of those, an evading arrest in a motor vehicle, and now an FSGI. I am taking away your privilege to drive. You will now be signing an affidavit with me today, promising me you're not going to drive. I don't give a rat's behind what your excuse is. If I find that you drive in violation of this affidavit, I will have a contempt. I can have a contempt hearing. I can have a contempt. Finish.
I'm so sorry.
Finish.
I'm a commercial driver. Okay.
You, if you do have a CDL,
That is correct. She does have a valid CDL.
are held to an even higher standard because of that CDL. You now have a total of 4 open cases, one of those being this FSGI and an evading arrest in a motor vehicle. I am taking away your privilege to drive. If I find that you do, I can have a contempt hearing. You can be facing an additional 6 months in jail and a $500 fine. I truly am at a loss with the attitude.
Okay.
Truly.
Okay.
In this case here, not only do we have an FSGI, but it's also alleged that you backed up and hit the person intentionally because allegedly hungry and covered. So now, this is an affidavit, and I hope that you take it.
The judge is done playing. Miss Gill is already on probation for assaulting an officer and injury to a child, and now adds evading and FSGI. He revokes her driving privileges on the spot. Drop A in the comments if you think that's the right call.
May I make argument for a PR bond, Your Honor? She's made a bond in the felony already. And even with the affidavit to not drive, I expressed to her that that was a possibility of a bond condition. I've spoken with her. She has family members who can help her get to and from court. She's a single mother of 2 children. She has lived at this address here in Houston for the past 5 years. She lives with her mother. She lives with her younger brother, has lived in Harris County her entire life. And she has, in these felonies, she's actually applied to be put in mental health court because during this incident and the felonies, she was unmedicated and she has a history of mental health diagnoses. And so as a client of the Harris County Public Defender's Office, we have every intention of getting her treatment for those mental health issues. But she's already made a bond in the felony, and she is willing to abide by any condition that this court will impose on her. It's down to the difference between $0 and $100. And
So I appreciate your argument. She's technically, you are right on bond. My feeling is that these felony courts probably do not know that she has now picked up this case yet. So I don't know if anything they're going to do when they do discover this. I find, Ms. Goucher, right? Is that what Ms. Goucher? I really appreciate your argument going to bat for her, but I think with her demeanor, her attitude, her reckless and wanton action on the road, is that you are a danger to the public, and your bond is now set at 1,000, and I'm going to raise it to 5 because I think that you really are a danger to the public, and your attitude shows us and tells me that, hey, I'm going to do what I want to do, and that's it. And that's always.
This gets raw. Gill accuses the court of racial bias, breaks down emotionally, and the judge responds by lowering her bond from $5,000 to $1,000. Was this compassion, or did her outburst shift the dynamic? Let's unpack this together in the comments.
Children, and I was thrown on the ground like an animal, okay? And I'm tired of this. I'm tired of all of this, okay? In front of my children have trauma, okay? And I have no insurance for the medication, and I have not been on the medication. I'm trying to get the insurance to get on the medication.
I understand that, but at some point, your actions become your own, right?
You don't understand. I'm colored. You don't understand me. If I was a different color, you would. And it's true.
That's so not.
It's so true. And you know what I'm talking about.
I call out discrimination when I see it on a daily basis, ma'am. I don't care who it is. I don't care what color. If they're a small farm animal, I don't care. I call it when I see it. The only thing, because I don't know them. The way I get to know them is paper. And they tell me what happens in the case. And from what I see here and what has transpired here within the last 10 minutes, really?
Officer Harris did not read me my rights.
Well, I will let
They've been mishandling me like this for years already, okay? I have the right to tell you this. And I'm telling you, she did not read me my rights. She just shoved me behind the officer car. I did not get a voice to speak out anything.
Yes.
She just brought me to jail.
You guys speak about that. I'll tell you, look, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave your bond at $1,000 now. All right? I'm not going to raise it to 5. But I can't continue to give you a PR bond.
From employment too.
Listen.
Okay.
Do not drive. That's the only thing I'm asking you to do.
I'm a commercial driver.
Don't pick up a new case.
Yes, sir.
And just, all right.